The Calgary Flames have one massive weapon in their arsenal this offseason, and that is their cap space. We're going to break down an article that shows some free agent targets that the Flames could sign to then deal away at the trade deadline for future assets, and I'm sure the Flames could get them for cheap as well. But before we get into that, I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. What a summer it has been so far, and hopefully what a summer it will continue to be. Now let's break it down. Let's get into these rental targets. So they're not exactly rentals in the way that most people normally see rentals. Rentals see it as you acquire a player to then deal it away. This is sort of the same thing. You're acquiring them through free agency, not really through a trade, but they still are a rental in that way that you don't have long-term plans for them. And of course, we are trying to get the most back for them. Now we have a great article here today, I gotta be honest. So it is 3 free agent rentals the Flames should target this offseason. It was originally posted on the Hockey Writers by Mr. Derek Olson. All credit to him for this one here, but he's got some good ideas of who the Flames should maybe target, and we're going to break down whether the Flames actually should do it or not. So just a quick description here. There's going to be quite a bit of reading in this video. I apologize for that. I'll try and do it to the best of my abilities with the light in my eyes, but let's start the article. While the Flames roster is seemingly pretty set going into the 2024-25 season, there's still some room to add. The active roster is at 22 players, but the organization has room for 8 more standard player contracts. The team still has 8 pending UFAs to re-sign, such as Dustin Wolf, but not all of these players will continue to be property of the Flames. Conroy has done an excellent job selling off veteran talent for draft picks and prospects and should use his abundance of cap space to keep doing so. There are a handful of talented UFAs that would likely accept a cheap 1-year contract just to get in, and the Flames could use this to their advantage. That is the key to all of this. Feel free to read that sentence over again, because that's what all this means. They could essentially rent and sell these players at the deadline, as callous as it may be. Business is business. Here are 3 such players that could be targeted for this purpose. Contract projections are courtesy of AFP Analytics, so there's some actual science behind it, some fact. It's not me just spewing out nonsense. We actually have some realness to it. Now let's get into the first target here, and it is Johnson. Well, you might be saying, which Johnson? There's so many. Are you talking Eric Johnson? Are you talking Jack Johnson? Are you talking Dwayne The Rock, former Calgary Stampeder Johnson? No, you might have seen it from the thumbnail. I'm, of course, talking about Tyler Johnson, former Stanley Cup champion with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He is a center/right wing. First up is Spokane, Canada, home of Gonzaga, go Bulldogs. Washington native Tyler Johnson, the diminutive forward, 5'8", 185 pounds, will be turning 34 years of age at the end of the month and is looking to keep playing in the best hockey league on planet Earth. He's skated the past 3 seasons with the lowly Blackhawks, finishing off a 7-year, $35 million contract he signed with the Lightning back in 2017. He was one of those kind of odd guys out after they won the cup, or won a couple of cups there, Tyler Johnson. They no longer could afford his contract. He was one of the odd guys out for them to stay in that window of contention. Went to Chicago, and you know what? He's still got some juice. He's not bad at all. We've actually spoken about him in a previous video. I can't remember which one it was, but this idea has come up before of potentially signing Johnson, because he will be worth something at the trade deadline. Not only does he have a scoring side, he has a good defensive side, and he has that Stanley Cup ring, which of course gives even more value to a player, being kind of one of those guys who can rally a locker room. Look, I've been there, I've done it kind of thing. But let's let the article do the talking here. Johnson has switched to a more defensively responsible game, having 59 takeaways compared to just 43 giveaways over the past 2 seasons. That is actually pretty good. He can still win faceoffs at an honorable rate and averages 34 block shots per 82 games played. He is projected to land a 1-year, $1.7 million contract, which the Flames could definitely afford. He would play the first half of the season in Cowtown, and with a good showing, he could get the team a nice pick or prospect come trade deadline time, or even, an actual other young roster player, just a much younger one. In turn, he could earn himself a shot at another cup and potentially one more big contract before retirement. It sounds like a great idea. I don't think there's any reason not to at least pursue this. Johnson won't ask for all that much. He hasn't had a great offensive few seasons here with Chicago like he had He's not a one-season wonder with Tampa Bay, but he certainly was kind of like a one playoff run wonder kind of guy. He was one of those guys, a Fernando Pisani type. But either way, he could actually be worth something very valuable at next year's trade deadline. Why not sign him for cheap? Even if we have to retain a little bit of a small contract to get something big back, I would absolutely do it. I don't hate this at all. Let's get into the next guy here and talk. Oh, that's the one we just talked about. This one, another goalie. Yes, there's a chance that the Flames could pursue yet another goaltender. They do already have, of course, Wolf and Vladar, and they signed Devin Cooley, and now there's rumblings of maybe they could sign yet another one, just in case they want to trade away one of the ones I just mentioned already. Now, who will that man be? Well, it's Kevin Lankinen. Up next is goaltender 29-year-old Kevin Lankinen. The Finn just completed his second tour of duty with the Nashville Predators in 2023-24, going 11-6 with one shutout in 24 total appearances. I don't know how do you go 11-6 in 24 appearances? Not too sure. He also authored an impressive .908 save percentage as well as a 2.82 goals against average. So not bad at all. Kind of better than what we currently have in a way. But let's see what the article actually has to say here. Lankinen, who can sign a short-term deal and help shore up the crease for the time being. If Vladar comes back and plays well, he can be jettisoned to another team in need in exchange for assets. Otherwise, he could be kept around if Vladar ends up being the odd man out. Lankinen is projected to sign a 2-year, $4 million contract. Again, not a huge contract here, and like I said before, Lankinen can come in and he could be the actual trade chip if he's given some game time and plays well, or if he isn't given game time, he could still go for something if we're signing him for quite cheap. And then Vladar, same thing. Vladar could be traded as well, and at least we have another goalie. So we already have Cooley in the mix. You add Lankinen, who's probably better. And either way, I think you're covered when it comes to the goaltending. Now, do we want kind of 4 goalies in circulation? Maybe, maybe not, but it's not the worst idea to at least have the crease covered for whoever does get traded away, because oh boy, do we love a goalie trade rumor saga here on the channel and within the Sea of Red. I don't hate this one either. Now let's get into the third target and talk about a hometown option, and it's kind of a hometown option, we'll say, because this man is born in Calgary, but didn't necessarily grow up here and is not even Canadian. If you know who I'm talking about, congratulations to you. If you don't, well, let me introduce you to Alex Nylander. He's a left wing / right wing. Last but not least is Calgary's own Alex Nylander. That's like saying the same thing about Willie Nylander, saying they're Calgary's own just because they're born here. But either way, for those unaware, Alex is the son of former Flame Michael Nylander and younger brother of Toronto Maple Leafs forward Willie Nylander. The youngest Nylander was a former 8th overall draft selection of the Buffalo Sabres back in 2016, and he has never quite played as expected. And after 8 years, he found himself on the 3rd different team as a member of the Columbus Blue Jackets this past season. 8 seasons already for Alex Nylander. That does not seem right. I would have guessed about 5. He turned it on in his contract year and earned a more heightened role on the team with strong, consistent play. He scored a career-high 11 goals and 15 total points in 23 games with the Blue Jackets. If he maintained that pace for a full 82-game season, he would have finished with an impressive 39 goals and 53 points. Again, I don't get how that math is mathin'. That doesn't seem to be almost the right numbers. Maybe it is. Honestly, I can't hate on that. Maybe it is the right numbers. But either way, that is a great pace, and he's been playing well. Let's see if the article thinks we should get him. So, the 26-year-old still has time to carve out a career for himself in the NHL, and perhaps a year of hockey in the city he was born in could be a nice next step. At a projected 1-year, $1.3 million deal, the Flames could easily afford to slot him into their middle 6 and see if he can continue his upward trend. If he does, he could be worth flipping to an interested team or potentially be worth re-signing and becoming a long-term part of the retool. And it's true. Out of these 3 guys, he's the most likely to go down as someone we could re-sign because he's still somewhat youthful and still has a little bit of untapped potential, whereas we know what the other 2 are all about, especially Tyler Johnson. Again, though, I think it would be smarter to sign him in the hopes of flipping him, just completely being, look, we're going to sign you, you're a rental, we'll send you to a contender, you can go win the cup kind of thing. And I think Nylander could be worth signing for some sort of contender if he does play well. Put him with the right players on the Flames and he might produce offensively really, really nicely. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Honestly, all 3 of these guys are worth pursuing and could be perfect signings if all goes to plan. I know it's easier said than done, but I do not hate it one bit. Now let's wrap up this video with the comment of the day, everyone's favorite part of the day. And this one has to do with yesterday's video about Zane Parekh, of course, the guy I can't get enough of talking about. And I like this comment here from Wyatt. He said, for the future, I could see Ball and Parekh playing together. Great combo of D and offense. So true. That could be a very dirty duo. Ball can kind of cover if Parekh goes into pinch and just produce offensively. Would be really nice. Pumped to see Gradin and Basha develop next year. Completely agree again. Studied up a bit on Gradin, and I believe his ceiling is pretty high. Good game sense and a wicked shot. Yes, he is a lot better than me for sure thought, but a lot of us thought when we originally drafted him with the 28th overall pick. He's got a lot of potential and could be a great player. Once again, what a draft by the Calgary Flames. Hopefully the next couple of drafts can also be like this. It would be better if we are picking high. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe, like what you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.